is play within the rules of the game, and it's really sad that we're seeing so much salt because we're going to absolutely destroy them by the end of this weekend from a fantasy league point of view. But I guess we'll just have to let the results speak for themselves, Toby.
Indeed, we will. And with that said, let's hop on over to game number 1 of the day, game number 16. Overall, of course, we got 3 days of glorious PUBG action to crown a winner by the end of Sunday. And one thing that I must say that this entire PCS6 has been very kind to us with is plane paths. This one, yet again, very straightforward across the map from east to west. No big shenanigans, and I think that's a big part of the reason why we haven't really seen those hot drops that they talked on the desk about earlier. They might come out later, shoot the plane paths, get really wonky, but so far, 16 games through, we haven't really had that one game where it's just been brutal for most teams. It's been, well, incredibly kind, to be honest.
So 3 to 9 o'clock, pretty chilled out. El Pozo.
Temos uma Monte Nuevo e El Pozo. Temos 2 opções de safe, meus queridos. Na verdade, 3. Ou ela fecha... Ah, velho, não dá nem pra ver, velho. Ô, Jesus. O cara não vai acertar, velho. Pode pular pro outro, mano. Pô, dessa distância aí, acertar de AK é 1 em 1 milhão, velho. Porra, mano, a gente tem 3 opções de safe. Perto do El Pozo, tá ligado? Onde é um pouquinho mais aquele aberto que tem entre as 2 montanhas, um compound, tá ligado? Aquela área aberta, que é GG. A gente tem a parte de Monte Nuevo, onde é que fechou ontem, não, hoje de manhã para a Ásia, né? Aquela parada é capaz de ninguém tá lembrando, porque eu lembro de tudo, né? Mas temos 3 opções de safe 1. Eu queria que mostrasse mais o mapa para eu mostrar, é que eu não queria ficar puxando outro browser e os caramba, tá? Eu tô com um pouco de preguiça, sabe? Tô com um pouquinho de preguiça, por causa do almoço, tá meio que... Mas fazer o que, velho? Depois eu mostro.
Teams that will be catching up. And one of those teams, I mean, Liquid already sitting in a decent spot down in 6th place, but one of those teams I would say is Heroic. Heroic has not come off to the greatest start, and let's take a look at them here. Down in Valdemar, they have an easy transition into the circle, and Heroic, to me, are one of those teams that usually they would come out stronger in the beginning, but the tournaments that they haven't, they've made that up come the end of the tournament. Like, they rarely ever finish way down the gutter because they bounce back late, even if they get off to a tough start. Like, they're just such a killing machine. And give them one, and not even a good one, decent game to start things off of. That's them spending the entire day farming the circle. So Heroic is definitely one of those teams that I'm looking to see bounce back here over the course of this weekend.
I think, to borrow a word that was only in recent times added to the dictionary, Heroic's bounce back ability is significantly stronger than even some of the established teams in this lobby. It is very easy for a team who's normally used to doing super well to have a really bad, say, 2 days out of a 3-day tournament. They don't dig themselves out of that in day 3. They improve maybe a little bit, and they finish, like, okay when they started bad. Heroic have this ability to completely ignore everything that's happened before and still find a way to perform absolutely top-notch at any stage of the tournament. So they could be in last place right now and still get 3 chicken dinners today. That's one of the reasons why Heroic is so dangerous.
Yeah, they can go up against the best of the best and come out victorious. It's just, it sounds so simple, but believe me, I mean, having talked to all of these players playing over the last couple of years of competitive PUBG, it's just about putting your mind to it. Obviously, it's not as easy as just, quote-unquote, putting your mind to it, but a lot of it comes to that, and Heroic is one of those teams that can very easily struggle, at least in my experience, can struggle on the mental. Oh my lord, look at this, Ghost Stuff. He's read this, Petulance. We all know what you like to do, and it's not gonna happen! Ghost Stuff, the denier of the goat climbing to the mountain. I don't know what animal would do that, but if there is...
Ele tava ligado, velho. O Gustav tava ligado já. Sabe por que eu digo que ele tava ligado nisso aí que o Batulins ia fazer? Porque todos os jogos, tá ligado? Da maioria das PCS, o Batulins fez isso. De subir lá em cima da montanha, pegar uma info e passar pra todo mundo. Ô, caramba, foi o mix aí de estouro. Tá ligado? Literalmente, velho.
For Vision for Northern Knights, then well, that's a good start to it.
Opa!
Not gonna say that Frost.
Foi esse Liquid pro estouro, mais um.
Cursed them from winning this game, but thank you, Frost. I also have 2 Liquid players on my team, and this is your fault.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got Vard as well. I'm blaming Frost for that 100%. You do not want to be Vard or Petulin's keyboard right now. I think they're the least desirable positions to be in this game. Oh, man.
Sure is. Tough for them. Have to try and see if they can make their way back up to save the clip. A little bit of a rich work with for now, but as you can see from down below too, Howl in a pretty good spot here to catch them off. And again, I mean, this is one of those things where you go, wait, these guys have been playing for an entire week. How are they still running into one another in these sort of situations? This to me is Howl making the play for this position earlier than what they have in the past. Either that or Liquid opting to make the play on out earlier and therefore colliding with one another. We're not going back to a quote-unquote game one of a tournament, but kind of, because a lot of teams will have shaken things up, will have gone, okay, let's try to do this thing different.
Lembrei, ó, a gente tem 3 opções de save. Aqui, bem aqui assim, aqui, essa região aqui, um pouco mais. Eu estava pra cá, mas ela não puxa pra cá, tá ligado? E essa região aqui, ó, 3 opções de save. Eu jogaria meu time aqui, ó. Literalmente onde é que a Thunder está. Aqui eu jogaria meu time. Ia trabalhando para cá. Essa borda aqui, porque é mais pacífico. Eu tendo um controle das costas, tá ligado? Seria interessante, né? Ir progredindo pouco a pouco e focando a minha frente, tá ligado? Era o mais certo a se fazer, entendeu? Eu poderia, tipo, jogar o meu time no meio da save, por exemplo, aqui na fase 1 no meio da save. Só que seria meio imprudente, porque ela pode tanto shiftar e acabar... Eita, Jesus amado! Acabar shiftando e dando uns problemas, tipo, de progressão depois, tá ligado? Como a PCS, né? Tipo assim, os caras se posicionam muito bem e é bala o tempo inteiro. Então, o posicionamento é muito importante, tá ligado? Muito importante.
No need or reason for them to try and chase down a center position. For starters, they know they're late, but also Heroic are so terrifying when playing on the edge. So even if there was something center available, hop out to that edge and get a good kill game to start things off. Because one thing is, I mean, a team like Heroic, I don't feel like they don't get the momentum going off of getting to, let's say, top 5 and having just sat in the compound the whole game with 0 kills. They need to be on that edge. They need to have risked their life for 6 fights and come out victorious in all of them. And despite it being a traumatizing experience, having to fight all that much, it's the days where they win those fights that they then bounce back into the next games. And, oh my lord, ticks the vehicle adjustments there. That's the Finnish rally skills, I suppose.
I agree with you. I think that normally you would be really afraid to fight a team that has max utility. Their vests and helmets are completely fresh. I would say Heroic are one of those teams where if they've just won 2 team fights and they've lost some of that utility, but they've just taken 2 fights and they've won it, I would argue that historically that makes them more dangerous. You know what I mean? They're so good when they're on a roll.
Yeah. Let's see, ends. We saw them just before making their way into the top of the circle. They've got all the space in the world up on that northern side. No one really opted to go that far north. Thunder, the team furthest north, they're still south of Greater Fields down towards El Pozo, so plenty of space, at least for now, should the circle go up there. But it's also testament to the fact that there just really ain't a whole lot of playable terrain up there. That's why teams have opted to sit further south, at least right off the bat, because if we kind of do a west to east, like diagonal cross through the circle, if we just do it through the middle, essentially, I would say like a solid 10, 11 of those teams are sitting on the southern half. So if this next circle does bounce up north, because of El Pozo and because of the way the mountains are posted on the map, like on the western side here, there are only so many paths up to the northern side of what is currently Circle 1. And believe me, there is, like, it's going to be a cluster, a massive funnel of teams trying to make their way up there.
A lot's going to ride on whether we have a hard shift here in phase 2. Most teams seem to have settled into some position okay. They've already had some difficulty, right? It's really difficult to get into this kind of circle without having another team relatively close by. We saw that with Team Liquid earlier on, and Northern Lights getting very close to FaZe Clan. And
Olha lá onde é que eu falei, ó. Eu posicionaria meu time aqui, ó. Lembra que eu falei isso? Nossa, o Perfect Keys. Cobrando, agora ele vai atrás da Haiti. Cara, lembra que eu falei pra vocês que eu ia posicionar meu time lá onde é que tava Thunder? E tu vê, mano, GG, velho. Eu estaria no meio da safe com o meu time. Aí assim, como é uma fase 2, tá ligado? Velho, seria muito interessante trabalhar essa posição, tá ligado? Esse posicionamento. E, mano, ia ficar muito bom, tá ligado? Ia ficar muito bom lá, velho. Eles têm bastante progressão. De onde é que eu vi que fechou a safe? Teve bastante progressão. Literalmente bastante progressão. E você tem os covers bacanas, tá ligado? O que eu digo com cover bacana? Tem bastante montanha em volta, tem negativo em volta, tá ligado? Tem como rotacionar de boa, caso você feche um pouco mais pra cima, um pouco mais pra baixo, entendeu? Cara, ficou muito bom. Olha onde é que a Thunder tá, ó. É muito bom, sabe? Muito bom. Tipo, tem a montanha em cima, por exemplo, deles, né? Poxa, por que não jogar os caras em cima da montanha, velho? Não valeria muito a pena. Pelo menos assim, numa fase 2 não valeria a pena, porque é muita gente viva e pode dar muita trocação lá em cima. E é pouco cover. Querendo ou não, é bem pouco cover lá em cima, porque vamos supor que 3, 4 times começam a ir pra lá, tá ligado? Mano, tu não consegue segurar e fica, tipo, muito caótico, tá ligado? Então a chance de você perder um membro do seu squad, tá ligado? É muito alto, não vale a pena, entendeu? Pelo menos assim, não na fase 2. Talvez numa fase 4 ou 5, dependendo de onde a safe fechar, valeria a pena, tá ligado?
His vehicle will be in danger of blowing up shortly as well. Team Rage are not having a good time.
No, that was a very skillful 180 though, not gonna lie. I saw the cow over the hills, I was like, nope, getting out of here. And somehow, despite all the action, and despite 12 people shooting at him, he's still alive.
E tamo
Which,
como?
of
Tamo
course,
bom
I mean,
de
he is,
caô
as you
hoje.
said, very, very isolated from his teammates, who are also not in a very good position, despite them being in the center of the circle. But they're alive for now. Na'Vi, I mean, we're one of those teams that could have tried to become one with the chaos on the southern side. Said, you know what? We're too late to it. Let's not even dare. Let's not even risk it. We'll wrap north around and they're going to be blessed. Again, I mean, if this next circle shifts anywhere near north, this is, by the way, a massive advocate to have the map stream open as well. If they go north around here, they're going to have all the room in the world. Look at this from a distance earlier.
Yeah.
Solid tax coming through. Finds the knock, finds the flush as well. And Na'Vi, plenty of space up to the north.
So teams we haven't heard from very much this game include Sakura Zensen, who came in very late from the southeast side. They've got Hal for company on the edge of circle, but they're looking for a nice initiate at the moment. Ideally, if they can get a knock with a grenade, that would be the perfect opportunity. Here comes Ruin, and unfortunately, it's just alerted him to their presence. It's moved against the car on the backside, and now the rest of the team have spotted Heeman.
Exactly the danger of throwing those nades early if you aren't 100% aware of the opponent's position. Schofield, we saw him running around in the open earlier. Didn't get far enough, unfortunately. Now actually ends finding Thunder players. That's a little scary for Thunder because, again, they are still trying to maintain that two-way split. So ends could, if they wanted to, try and engage on this. Let's see next circle. We send it up, but it's still very difficult terrain because we know the next one is going to hard shift up towards the north. Or I suppose there's a northeastern shift possible as well.
Now,
but
Toby,
right now, I mean, Thunder and they're sitting in prime real estate.
Do you think Thunder risk running through the center of the circle to go to the south side compound now? Because between those two hills, it looks really good for now, but the circle might also shift away. What do they do here?
No, it's gonna go north, and they're already in the car. There's only one play that is full speeded up to the guys up the north side, because that's.
I'm surprised they're not getting shot at.
Yeah, I mean that's because they're doing it this early. Because it could have been risky. Let's look at a lot of people getting shot at. The Laza finds one, goes down. Return Code Marco finds off. Smash finds one too. Despite them being the ones to engage on this, they're actually coming out victorious.
This is
Mano, só tem um match vivo ainda, cara. Deu muito errado pra Team Rage agora nesse momento. Caramba, mano. E só caiu o Tender Lost da BBL, velho. BBL é antiga Digital Athletics, tirando um dos jogadores. O Mert, que era antigo jogador da Digital Athletics, né, que é antigo jogador da BBL, agora tá no Team Rage.
And you don't want to be using so many of your smokes at the 15-minute mark.
Exactly, you're gonna need that for later, no doubt.
Pegou um pouquinho aí, gente.
James, damage done towards Heroic, but unfortunately not fast enough to keep his teammate alive. Clip does fall. I saw on the map feed earlier Entropic make a smite move because they were down here on the southern side too, but they opted to wrap all the way west around and make their way up in from the north side of the circle, knowing or anticipating at least, of course, that that's where the next circle is going to be going. And I'm surprised to see that teams like Heroic haven't opted to make that same play, because if they wait for the next circle to pop, they're going to be backfilling on everyone, and there simply isn't enough space on that west side for them to maneuver through. And it looks to me like Sakura Sanson, despite moving in this late, are trying to kind of do the same thing. They just know, I mean, we're coming in on the backside of this mountain. We have no info. We need to stop and scout.
Moving it straight past Team Liquid.
Okay. Oh,
and he's not just letting them go past. He's looking for the double. Almost gets it.
Out of bullets.
There we go. And that's both knocks for James. Possibly critical points here for Team Liquid. Remember, they're in the top 6. They're having a terrible game number 1 here to start us off today. And what do I always say, Toby, about good teams and great teams? The great teams know how to take a terrible game and salvage those points from it. And that's what Jimbo's doing for the squad now.
That was as much of a freebie as could be. That's for sure. And Tropic, again, talked about them just before they wrapped in from the north side. Kind of doing the similar play to what Navi did. Navi obviously just executing it one circle earlier. And now, well, they are still in a two-way split. Looks and Iva still up on the northwest side. But Naileup continuing where he left off last week. He's been a damage machine. He's been doing more damage than some teams have in total. He is just terrifying. And every single time he peeks out a window, believe me, there's going to be headshots on the receiving end of those bullets. Circle now pops and actually a lot.
Olha só que interessante, ó. Eu não deu pra ver a safe antes, que eu não acompanhei, né? Mas olha só que interessante, ó. Trailer Park veio pra cá, né? Onde tá ainda Thunder. Ainda fechou na Thunder. Ele shiftou, né? Pra frente da Thunder. Então, tipo assim, a gente tem muito cover lá, tá ligado? Pra eles avançar e ir puxando e progredindo na safe pouco a pouco, tá ligado? A esse tá muito boa lá na safe. Tá literalmente muito boa na safe, tá ligado? Os outros times estão ficando... Mano, tá ficando muito sem espaço, cara. São 15 times vivos, 50 vivos, cara, em 17 minutos de partida, cara. Numa fase 4. É muito boneco, velho. Nessa fase aí, é muito boneco, tá ligado? Vamos para o replay. Caramba, quanto tiro pra finalizar. Daí, assim... Literalmente é muito boneco pra uma safe muito curta, cara. Muito curta. Curta eu digo pequena, tá? Mas... Eita, Neila. Caramba! E olha só, a gente tem a Entropic, a Navi e a Thunder ali, tá ligado? Provavelmente a Entropic, talvez ela dê engage na Thunder pra pegar a posição deles, talvez. Essa é a melhor posição pra eles nesse momento, tá ligado? Não tem muito onde é que os jogadores ficar agora, porque o espaço na safe tá pequeno e o resto é muito grande, cara. Tipo, grande eu digo assim, ó, pode ver aqui, ó, onde é que tá a Thunder é a safe. Então, olha só, tu vê aqui da Thunder pra frente aqui, ó, é tipo, pouquíssima negativa. Tu não tem como trabalhar muito, entendeu? Os covers são pequenos demais, então assim, é complicado, tá ligado? É muito complicado. A FaZe tá com os 3 vivos ainda, mano. E tá batalhando pela posição, velho. Vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Estão jogando meio splitado, mas... Bodinha de safe, né, velho?
Heroic, they full speed sent it into the same field we saw Schofield go down in before. They have made a play for the open, knowing that they didn't have a whole lot to play around the southern side. But, well, thought he was going to get pulled up on. Nice to always be ready with an 8.
Indeed, and that was actually cooked relatively well. Just the car kept driving. So here comes a Regnum Kaya, and the car gets knocked actually into a ditch, so they might be able to play for a while. Until the Tropic come by, and that is the quickest squad wipe I've seen in quite a while. Cars involved as well. It's all over the place here, as in Tropic. Super quick squad wipe.
Everyone just ran each other over. There were like 3
Nossa, lá vem a Thunder, velho.
And I love the fact that our POV, as soon as we got into it, was someone getting his head torn off by a buggy. The thing is...
don't worry, there are bandages for that.
Olha só, ó, o espaço aqui é extremamente pouco para trabalhar, ó. É full tipo aberto, tem algumas negativas, tem algumas posições que são muito boas, tá ligado? Só que é muito, tipo, é pouco cover, velho. Bem pouco cover, velho.
With the peaks here, though, because as you can see on the other side, Ensign, the compound, they're in a position to do some damage in return.
So Thunder here, being opportunistic, trying to third party at the same time. They're not in the next circle, and you could argue that not only are they being opportunistic, they have to win this fight as well. So a lot of pressure on Thunder at the moment, but they are in a better position. We'll wait and see what they can do. This is the battle for the south side of the circle, where FaZe Clan and Heroic are basically jostling to see who gets ownership of the south, and there's not much cover here. So I don't anticipate 2 or 3 teams can easily live in Phase 5.
No, the El Pozo escape is going to be dreadful for everyone involved in it, because even if they do get out of here alive, they have a lot of teams waiting for them on the inside of the next circle. Salik, Nate lobbed on forward, not going to bounce far enough. Tusta Matt able to avoid that one, but I like the way that Howl are playing, not be static, not sitting in one same spot, kind of looking for kills. They have to try and keep wrapping around. They have to try and see if they can get the kind of the inside of the opposing team. Similar to what we saw with Entropic up in the north against Navi earlier, you have to be so smart about how you position yourself here, and that comes before trying to take the fights. If you can spend your time wrapping just one container further towards the circle instead of sitting still and waiting for teams to come to you, well, that's the winning play.
And then, of course, you've got speed of execution as well. Everyone can sit down and sort of grab their abacus and slowly work out where is going to be best in the circle. But by the time you finish making those decisions, if everyone else is already in place, you got to settle for second or third, or goodness knows, no prio positions available. So the speed of calculation there and the decisiveness of how you move out, so important in PUBG, and almost certainly determines who ends up in the circle, sort of phase 4, phase 5 in these tactical battles. Right now, though, we're going out of El Pozo. Navi spotting Hal, and this is, oh my goodness, this is like fish in a barrel.
Yep, such a smart play from Navi. We saw them up on the north side earlier. They knew there was nothing to come for. They knew Ents at the compound at the skate had the other warehouse building on the east. They had to wrap all the way south again. They've essentially wrapped all the way around the circle, at least on that eastern side, up to the north, back to the south again. Now they're holding off. Matt, nice double headshot connected on Salik. Thought he was going to get away from that, but no. Quizzy again, I mean, they have the perfect position to do damage here, because there's nothing that Heroic can do from down below to take out Navi on the hilltop.
I think that's really important, right? At the end of the day, if you're in a position where you can't be third party, or you feel like it's not easy for someone to third party you, what a privileged position that is in a game where so many good PUBG teams are. That is so important. We've seen the power of the third party in this very game already. Here comes Road to Glory against Ace Clan. Excellent spray onto Vex. Almost gets the double as well, but Road to Glory unfortunately eliminated. Will he be able to get the revive?
Olha essa safe, velho.
FaZe Clan survives with 2.
Olha essa safe, velho.
People have to make the full speed sent into the open, but all of a sudden,
ela não tem espaço pra trampar, tá ligado?
If they can take out the teams on the side.
Essa safe, cara, não tem espaço pra trabalhar, velho. Não tem, mano. Literalmente não tem, cara. Ela tá extremamente pequena, tá ligado? É muito aberto pros jogadores, tá ligado? Muito aberto, velho. E, cara, vai ser um pesadelo, velho. Tá ligado? Vai ser um pesadelo. Mano, são 30 bonecos pra essa save, cara. Pra uma fase 6. Tá ligado? 30 bonecos. No competitivo, mano, é o terror. Se fosse MM, eu acharia literalmente pouco, tá ligado? Só que, citando assim, né? Ranqueada no caso, é pouco. Só que, mano, no competitivo aqui, velho, é o terror, velho. Tem pouquíssimos lugares pra trabalhar, tá ligado? A Hero tá numa posição muito boa, porque, cara, eles têm visão de tudo, cara. Literalmente das costas, tá ligado? E das duas laterais aí. Deu ruim pra Entropic. Caramba, tio. Deu muito ruim pra Entropic. Ó, foi-se a nave pro estouro. E olha só agora. Agora começa o terror. 3 times, se eu não me engano, eliminados em 3, 4 segundos, eu acho que o comentarista falou.
Hardcover inside zone. Everyone has an opportunity to run 20 meters and shoot anybody else. 8C gets headshot by the man. An excellent start.
A FaZe ainda tá na luta ainda.
Lonesome, and Vex manages to return the favor.
They saw the knock in the kill feed. They know they're playing to some extent back 3. They have to watch out. They cannot overextend to lob a nade with the risk of being taken down from behind. But first nade a bit too fast. Second one I think will be as well. Yes, exactly over the top. And I gotta say, I mean, Vex and 8.
Cara, a Hero fez um negócio bacana até. Tipo, olha só, eles têm visão de tudo, né? O posicionamento deles é bom. Só que assim, o high ground pra eles é uma coisa. Nossa, ela tá bugado. O high ground pra eles é ruim porque aí eles ficam vendidos, né? Obviamente. Só que assim, eles estão numa posição muito boa porque ninguém consegue chegar muito perto pra dar tiro. E se alguém chegar muito perto deles pra dar tiro, vai estar se vendendo pros outros times. Então, eles estão muito bem protegidos. Olha só, velho. Eles estão muito bem protegidos. Os outros times mesmo aqui, olha só, vai ser um pesadelo agora.
Danger the moment FaZe Clan move. Another team that's in a bit of danger at the moment, BBL, but they have got grenades at their disposal. They're just on the other side of ends.
Nawik has a nade as well, trying to lob them forward. Rostam down to real HP. I love this play from Nawik, by the way. Splitting out, knowing that you need to try and claim terrain while the other teams are fighting one another. Solo player over on this hillside, playing a 3-1 split now, but allowing for his teams up in the warehouse to focus south while he's looking the other way. He needs to be that up close threat, though.
Esse Pyro ganha essa partida, velho. Certeza, mano.
A headshot towards Dempsey. He cannot allow for them to do damage on the other side, but at the same time, he's really hoping that BBL will do some more damage towards ends. Rostenma, attacked by the Molly, won't go down that easily.
E a Thunder ainda tá vivo na partida com um cara.
I wonder if this is hot. But he did have the med kit straight away. He's all good. He got the first aid in hand. The only team that is fully in circle right now, by the way, is Heroic. So many are going to be waiting along Skate.
É que esse cara não caiu? O cara tomou um tiro no capa 1, velho.
From the east, so they didn't have anyone behind them, but Skate had managed to rotate in such a way that because they've got no one fighting them to the south, they can now come and wrap on ends. Let's see if they backfill here too.
Nawik is the angel, kind of saying the praises for BBL because he wanted the peek on over easily. Now they finally get to, but there's a receiving end of BBL ready for the fight. And look at this, it's Skate all over, taking out the FaZe Clan members. FaZe Clan in the meantime trying to make their way on forward. They get torn apart by Heroic as well here, as they are now being denied any sort of entrance to this circle. And again, couldn't be better for Heroic that Skate are focusing towards the west side of the road.
And 80 coming back thinking, hang on a second, maybe I can just prone this out. Thunk. Jempty says absolutely not. Nookie now just trying to heal his way, hopefully into another position. But this circle hurts, man. It's 10 damage per second. You basically are struggling to even out heal it. Nookie looking like he's about to go down.
One more first aid off. I think that was his last one. So now he makes the play forward still in the blue. Nawik not going to let it happen. Skate up at 8 kills. Jempty and Nawik getting the fast share of those. We're down to just 3 teams. Skate.
Tá.
That there haven't been too
Tudo no meio da live, né? Tem que fazer as coisas.
To the open, but they should be all right in that regard too. Heroic though, despite having the low ground, have been sitting real tight here for quite a while.
Skade, relatively quiet game for them. Everyone was sort of coming to them rather than moving into everyone else. But they're doing it on the team as well now, by the way. So just a little bit of extra firepower going to the end. We are already into the top 3. It's Heroic, Skade, and BBL. BBL have lost 1 member. Everybody else still has a full squad in the game.
Look at the next circle too. I mean, at the beginning of this game, I said I wanted to see Heroic bounce back, and they weren't gonna thrive off of a game where they didn't have to do a whole lot and not come into the end game without a lot of kills.
Right.
That doesn't mean that they won't take it if it's presented to them. So obviously, I mean, they'll enjoy this circle until the game is over, no doubt about it. The only thing is for Heroic, it's very limited. You can see Page really wants to get up to that roadside and peek forward. They're just very limited in how far up they can play because of Skate's position here. The thing is, Skate obviously well aware that they're the ones to have to make the first move alongside BBL. So Heroic right now, as much as you want to peek and get those fast kills, you just gotta sit and wait for the 2 other teams.
Aí, ninguém morreu. Ninguém morreu.
The Heroic there, they know that pushing up is, shall we say, a lower percentage guarantee of squad wipe. So they want to be a little mindful of that, but at the same time, they're the ones with the time on their hands. If they wait till phase 8 moves in, even if for some reason BBL and Skate don't...
Eu falei, mano, é só a BBL segurar, velho. A BBL não, perdão, a Heroic.
Destroying each other right now. Phase 9 just drops on top of Heroic, so they know they can play for time here.
Exactly. This is where you don't get greedy for 1 or 2 kills. You play
tá pegando fogo, caiu.
Because that in the end will amount to more. Let's see Smash tagged up by the Mollies twice. Make that Gem able to get the response from the other side. No tries to peek on over. Then the lost how much more damage can you do to them?